is what we call the Renaissance period, which ran from 1450 to 1600. So this was also called the era of rebirth because there was awakening of intellectual awareness and there was rebirth of learning and art after all that stagnation in the Middle Ages. Because the Middle Ages, they thought it was kind of boring, so they went to the next era and found it appropriate for their art to be revived. That's why the Renaissance is also called rebirth. So it was a revival of interests, of philosophy, of human creativity, of arts of ancient Greece and Rome. So in this period, musicians were supported by the chief institutions of the society, which were the church, the city, and the state. The sacred music during this time was the Mass. Well, you have two. You have the Mass and the motet. So the Mass is the highest form of worship in church, in which the Catholic Church is also still following now. And you have 5 sections. You have the Kyrie, the Gloria, the Credo, the Sanctus, and the Agnus Dei. Then you have the motet, which is a polyphonic choral work set to a sacred Latin text other than the ordinary of the Mass. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with the Mass, and I will attach an example of a motet. For their secular music, so when you say secular music, it means that it's not of the church. So it's not religious. Secular is not religious. We have a Renaissance madrigal. So these were short poems in various languages that were set to music. So the characteristics of a madrigal is that they were contrapuntal. Contrapuntal means it comes from the word contra, meaning against, right? When you have a contra, it's against you. Then puntal is point. So you have a melody and there's another contrasting melody that is sung against it. And it kind of sounds complicated, but somehow it works. Right? So there's a lot of imitation as well. And an example of this would be As Vesta Was Descending, and I will attach a link as well. A famous composer also in this period was Thomas Morley, and one of his famous works was called Now is the Month of Maying, which is an example of a ballet madrigal.